Bienvenidos, Fright fans, and welcome to the Horror Show. Got Jaime and Fuego here for another remake review here in 2019. That's right, this is Jacob's Ladder, the remake that, well, who knows if we actually needed it or not, but I will at least commend this film on trying to do something significantly different with making it, dare I say, more of an urban approach to it, you know, taking a black actor and just changing the nature of the conflict as far as, you know, different wars and updating things and stuff like that. The original Tim Robbins film that basically put Tim Robbins on the map for dramatic psychological thriller stuff. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, so this was one that I definitely went into with some trepidation about the fact that they were even doing it in the first place, and also the fact that it was being written by Jeff Bueller, who just penned the Pet Sematary remake script. And so, yeah, I came into this with apprehension, and while I will say it's not a terrible film, it definitely doesn't bring enough new stuff to the table, despite the new spin that it does give some things. But it's a great looking film, it's rather well directed, and all of the performances are quite solid. And so, yeah, as far as overall thoughts go, I tend to lean more so towards why this was even made. And, you know, it doesn't serve that much of a purpose in that regard, regrettably. But it's still not as awful as it could have been, and I guess that's something to credit it. So, in the original Jacob's Ladder, he was coming from Vietnam. In this one, it has been updated to just the PTSD from just the, you know, war in Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, just the war on terror in the Middle East that we are still in the midst of to a degree. So, this soldier is back home. He's initially under the impression that his brother has been killed, and yet all of a sudden he encounters this gentleman who claims that his brother is in fact alive and is living in this underground, like, network of just homeless soldiers of PTSD that are apparently having this specific form of medication tested upon them, and it's making them kind of rage a little bit and lose their minds. And so we find out very quickly whether or not his brother is in fact alive or not, and then we get to the sort of tropes that you would expect story-wise from a film called Jacob's Ladder, in the fact that it starts to play with reality. You start to really wonder, you know, how much is in this guy's head? Is he losing his mind as well? Is his brother actually there? Is he not? So it really does eschew a lot of that stuff. And But Bueller's story, just once again, it feels unnecessary despite a few aspects of a new spin being put on it. And but performances is where I will most definitely praise this film. Both of the brothers in this, and even some of the flashbacks that they do to them just you know, long before they were soldiers, when they were just kids, like running around in the fields and stuff together. Great chemistry with the couple young actors when we get them in a few scenes here or there. But it's really about the grown up. We've got cats running around, as y'all can see. It's always pretty common here on the Horror Show. But yeah, both of the brothers are very strong in their acting, and one I recognized immediately from The Cabin in the Woods, and the other one I have seen in a fair share of different things from. I think he was on like General Hospital or like one of those soap operas, and I know he won a bunch of like daytime Emmys and things for something like that, and I've seen him in a few other, like, you know, war films, stuff like that. But both of their acting is completely compelling, and it's just, I wish there was a fresher story, you know, and just a more different spin so that they could flex their you know, acting capacity in just a little bit stronger of a way with something a little bit different. But yeah, as far as practical goes, there's not really a ton of that. There are a few scenes of I mean, you do get some scenes in, you know, the Middle East where they're still in the service and they're like raiding homes, and I guess from a technical standpoint, all of those sets are beautifully, you know, put together, and the action is shot in an interesting manner as well. It's very like Zero Dark 30, you know, what you would expect from, you know, these recent films that we have had that, you know, we're jumping over to the conflict there that's still in various capacities going down. But I don't know, when some of these guys are, some of the trip out sequences, I guess, are cleverly done, and they do leave you feeling just discombobulated and like your head is spinning a little bit yourself, the way, just like some of the filters put over some of the color correction. I mean, this is a very competently assembled film, you know, both visually and with our acting performances. I just have to just keep circling back to Jeff Bueller's script and the fact that I just didn't particularly like it. And it's always tough, the burden of expectation being the thing that I always mention when it comes to a remake, a sequel, reinventing any sort of property or beloved film that, you know, is deep in the public consciousness, especially for something like Jacob's Ladder, that they say Tim Robbins wouldn't have got his job in Shawshank Redemption, which is considered one of the greatest films of all time, if not for the fact that he wowed so significantly in the original Jacob's Ladder. And that one had such trippy and unsettling, like, surgery scenes where they were, like, you know, missing the eyes and all of that other stuff. And they're both rather tragic films to a degree, you know, as far as just, you know, seeing the pain that so many of our soldiers are still experiencing, even if they survive the physical conflict and the shooting, and, you know, the fighting, the internal rage is still happening. And I feel like they could have done a lot more, and they could have veered into much different territory, which, you know, they chose not to. The score and the sound design, nothing too particularly memorable or anything, but the sound design, you know, the wonky and just the way it's trying to make you feel like you are in fact losing your mind as well. The sound design and the, you know, just sound effects that are assembled and the just odd tripped out noises, they definitely help with putting you into that frame of maybe I'm losing my mind. But yeah, as a whole, we don't really grade things here, but I would say this movie was just okay. And when you're remaking something that is so good and it's just okay, I mean, obviously there's going to be an essence of disappointment, but I do feel like in some ways somebody who has never seen the original could watch this and actually take a whole lot more enjoyment out of it if you've never seen the original. So I have been Jaime and Fuego, and I extend that grande gracias to all of you Fright fans for tuning in. If you would like to become a patron and just allow us to, you know, open up the door to you to tell us what to review, certain commentaries and things like that to get the team assembled together to partake in, we always appreciate the support. It is supremely cool of all of you who take the time and the little bit from your personal financing to actually, you know, help the channel out directly like that. It's really rad status. And yes, thanks once again for tuning in, and until next time, Fright fans, remember to stay scared.